Hi, I'm Mike from the Everton Fans Forum, and I'm going to give a preview to the upcoming League Cup game from an Everton fan's perspective. So going into the game, spirits couldn't be much higher really. Ancelotti came in last season, in the short term turned things around, and then things tailed off after the restart, but over the summer it looks like he really got to grips with what the issues were in the squad, mainly the shambles that was the midfield. And so over the summer, within the space of a week, we went and signed Alan, who's a battler in midfield, Decore, who gives energy and is a proper number 8, and then signed James Rodriguez, which was the icing on the cake really. So that turned around the midfield in a really short space of time, and then everyone was excited about the signings, and then to go on and win 5 games out of 5 really is, give us a rare optimistic start to the season, because usually come January we're pretty much out of all of the competitions we started in. So we've really got a bit of momentum behind us, and there's a real enthusiasm at the club that we can go and do something this season. So much so that the spirit of the Blues, I believe, has just knocked Miley Cyrus off the top of the iTunes charts, which isn't a sentence I thought I'd be saying this year. But so the difference obviously going into this next game is that with it being the League Cup, you never really know how much the manager's going to chop and change the team. In the first game 2 weeks ago against Salford, he changed pretty much every player that he could. I think we've only got 2 fit centre-halves at the moment, so there's not a lot we can do there. But and then against Fleetwood, we went a little bit stronger than what I thought. He kept Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison in the team, as well as obviously keeping the 2 centre-halves and playing Jordan Pickford, which, was more a hindrance than a help as it turned out. But yeah, I would expect the team to be something more along that lines, with the young French lad we signed in the summer in Kunku at left back, and maybe John Joe Kenny at right back in place of Coleman. The midfield will probably be changed out, so you'll have Sigurdsson, Bernard, and maybe Tom Davis or Fabian Delph might slot in there. So, and I would also be very surprised if he risks James, because he's been leaving James out of the League Cup squads so far this season. So I'd expect Alex Iwobi or Theo Walcott to slot in there. But I think that probably gives West Ham a little bit of hope, in the fact that, it's going to be more like last year's midfield. So you're not going to have, Alan, Decore and James to worry about. And I think, obviously, I think West Ham probably would have been fairly happy with the draw, avoiding the Liverpool's, Manchester United's, as would Everton. But depending on the number of changes he makes, it could be a very close game. On paper, I think West Ham's squad is filled with good players, and I think they've been quite unlucky this season so far. Obviously, a great win against Wolves the other day, but in the other games that they've played, I think they've looked good and been unlucky to not get a result out of the game. So I imagine Seb Haller and Yarmolenko might come in, and there's still quality in the team. So I think it'll be a close game, and it'll be one that I'll be happy to get through, just whatever score we can really, because I think this season's a great opportunity for West Ham, Everton, Newcastle, the teams that haven't got Europe, to go and win a domestic cup. So I think obviously the first goal is going to be important, especially if we haven't got a James to look to give the ball to, or some of the more creative players in that team. But we'll be relying on the likes of Bernard and Sigurdsson, I think, to really be the creativity. Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin have started the season really well, and so they will be our main attack and output. So yeah, I'm going to hedge my bets and say that we'll come out 2-1 winners of this one, but I'm expecting a closer game than I'd be happy to accept, really.
So yes, tomorrow will be the next major task, which is against Everton. Not going to be easy by any shadow of the imagination, especially after our first 2 round games against Charlton and Hull, which on paper, for being polite, were probably easy on paper. But us being very West Ham, we actually managed to win, and win convincingly, which is nice. But I feel tomorrow's challenge against Everton will not be easy. I think it will be our first real fight and our first real chance to show what we can actually do. And if those first 2 games were actually a bit of a fluke, we'll see. But I think in terms of if you're looking at form and how we're coming into that game, I think both teams actually are going to come in with a decent amount of confidence. I mean, obviously we've had Everton who've gone mad at the start of this season, straight in there, full of confidence, wins, scoring for fun, making it all look easy, and their new signs have come in and just hit the ground running, which is annoying. And then you got West Ham, which doesn't surprise us when I basically say we've done sort of our normal, but with a few surprises in taboos. So obviously performed appallingly against Newcastle. Absolute joke, but none of us were massively surprised, if not still a bit disappointed, and then massively unlucky against Arsenal. And then we went and performed that miracle yesterday against Wolves. So I think it's still true to say you don't know which West Ham team is going to show up on the day. That being said, we still have the issue in that we seem to have a league side and then we have a cup side. There is the argument that our cup side takes the mick to an extent with our 100 million plus attacking force, but that's fine. The free Haller protests can carry on for another week, as I suspect he will probably be making some sort of appearance tomorrow. I can't see us deviating much, to be honest, from the lineup against Hull, purely because we haven't really got the people to do anything else. And obviously having played the match against Wolves yesterday, sticking half of that team back on to play against Everton is stupid, especially as we've already lost Fredericks, probably, to another little niggly injury. So I suppose in some respects you could say we're quite lucky that we have this whole other team basically available to play our cup games for us. But no, I think it will be interesting. I mean, I think you can safely say that, you know, Lanzini and Anderson, don't know who these players are. Sure as hell haven't seen them in the league for a while, so it's good to see that they're actually doing something in the cup and they're playing well. And Lanzini seems to be this whole new player. We definitely haven't seen him for a couple of seasons. And the link-up play, especially with Yama involved as well, up to Haller, it's basically all the things we hoped when we bought these players, isn't it, really? I mean, we kind of hoped when Haller came in that he would come in and he would score goals, and you literally have this situation where you give Haller the ball with him running on to it, not having to get it, turn, have to do something, and then strike basically nowhere. He's getting the ball, he's getting those passes, he's getting those chances, and he's scoring. It's amazing. It's like some sort of Christmas miracle, I think. But yeah, I think in that respect, I do think we will be seeing very probable the same lineup again tomorrow. So not entirely sure what we will see from Everton though, as having a look at obviously what they do in the league and then what they put into the cup, you do see that difference a bit more. It was for their first game, they literally had a load of people on the pitch, you know, not their usuals at all. But then for the Fleetwood game, they really did stick on a fair amount of their first team. So that makes you wonder if tomorrow, bearing in mind they've also played over the weekend, how many people can they spare? I'll be amazed if we don't obviously see the likes of Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin back on the pitch again tomorrow, because they're going to be massively up for it and wanting to put us to bed quite early doors. So they will be, without doubt, you know, the main people we have to contend with. But that being said, as we have seen from both the league and from the cup, they can be dodgy at the back. Special mention has to go out to Pickford for this one. I mean, to an extent, if I was boys, I'd be like, shoot, just keep going, just keep trying, because I'm sorry, that man is scarily dodgy. I know we can have various comments about West Ham related goalkeepers over the years, but that man terrifies me at times in goal. It's funny, it's comedy as well, but it is actually quite terrifying. So I think if Pickford is back in goal, then I think we have a bit of leeway there to go crazy and just go for it. You know, we've obviously got that confidence from the previous games. I mean, I think people were expecting a harder job against Hull, and we put them to bed really easily. That being said, they've had half of their team decimated, but you know, generally in the cup, whenever it comes to those kind of games, we just lose the bubble and just sort of go to bed. So for me, it's difficult to kind of decide what is going to happen tomorrow, because we're going to go into the game full of confidence after what we did against Wolves, but it's a different team. It's not the same team going into that game. So can we actually think about it in the same way? So should we just scrub what we did in the league, scrub what we did against Arsenal, scrub what we did against Wolves, and just think about purely the teams that have played in the last 2 cup games? On paper, it should do well. I mean, the amount of, the strike force we've got, Haller and Lanzini and Anderson, these are players that should be gracing the actual first team. Maybe not Anderson, still a bit iffy about him, but generally, Haller, for example, Yarmolenko, love that guy, I think he's great. Snoddy, love Snoddy. So these are all players that I think are great and, should have a bit more time, or at least even go in the actual main games. But in any case, I think we are looking at that same whole team for tomorrow. It's a hard one to call. I think there will be goals. We will definitely concede goals. I just can't see personally how it's going to be, a clean sheet for us. I'm sorry. It's not a nice thing to say. But being realistic, and us being West Ham, we will probably concede at least one. That being said, if we do just go for it, and we do pick for the hard time, which I hope we do, because it'd be brilliant to watch, I'd like to think we're going to score. I think unfortunately we're not probably looking at another 5-1, 5-2 kind of drumming. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be brilliant. I think we are probably looking, it's going to be like 2-1, 3-1. I'd like to hope 2 or 3-1 to us. It's me being hopeful. But we will see. I think it's going to be a challenge. It'll be interesting to see actually how it works again with Irvine on the touchline. He seems to have had a positive influence on the team. I know Moyes is behind the scenes picking and doing tactics and all that stuff, but you do wonder what Irvine is saying to the players on the pitch. So just saying, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens there tomorrow. But I am going to go and be hopeful, and I'm going to go say 2-1 to West Ham, because why not? I still stand by the belief that knowing our luck as a club and as West Ham fans, we'll probably make it to a final this year. And it'll be a final we can't go to. Hopefully not. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. I hope we get to the final and I hope we can go. But for now, I am going to say 2-1 to West Ham. And come on, you hands.
For West Ham fans everywhere, this is the ultimate football app for you. Never miss a thing with the latest West Ham news, gossip and social stories as they break. Download the free COY Irons app now from the App Store and Google Play.